Hi everyone, this is James Inglesby. I'm going to be showing an illustration of a translation management system. It is a process by which translations happen from the beginning of the process where English documents are uploaded all the way to when translated documents are delivered. And wanted to zoom in a little bit. This first section up here is really just the individuals and the people that are involved in the process. We have translation requestors. These are people that are asking for translation. They typically will upload an English document to a system, and the system itself is called TMS, or Translation Management System, and this has several different components to it, and one of them is a request form. And when they upload this, there's an email message that goes to the next person in the process, which are the localization PMs. These are people, typically in my team, which is a localization team within a large company, that will oversee the request. They'll consolidate, many times they'll bundle together several different projects together, and they will also approve the project because they hold the budget for the translation. The next step is the files go to the vendor PMs, or the vendor project managers. You can tell that this is a different color because it's a different organization. These vendor project managers are doing things like confirming the pricing. They may add additional prices to the project. They're also scheduling the work, making sure that they have the right translators at the right time. And when they're ready and the job is ready to go to the next step, they again log into TMS, hit a approval button, and it goes to the next stage of the process, which is the translators themselves. We have translators in several different languages, and the system knows where to send the files to, because down here again at TMS, we've included user profiles and workflow rules. And so this informs the system of where and who to send the next step in the project to. Then back up to the next step. Once the translations are complete, they go to a group of translation reviewer or in-country reviewers. These are people that work within my company that are experts in the subject matter itself, that actually know what the content is about. They know our products, they know our services, and they also are bilingual, so they know what is a good and what is a bad translation. They go through a process of linguistic proofreading and editing, and then when they're satisfied with it, it goes back to the vendor, and it goes through a desktop publishing or quality assurance step. This is basically if we have a very large, complex type of document. These are people that will actually make sure that the layout of the translations looks good. And then finally, they go to push it forward to the original requester. These two people at the beginning and the end are essentially the same people, but they actually can then download and retrieve the file that is translated in the multiple languages. And part of this whole system also is that it's not just used for translation, but it's also possible to use this for English authoring, because there are people throughout my company that are creating English content. They're creating data sheets and brochures and white papers, and they have the ability to plug into what's called the translation memory. And this translation memory is actually a database of translations that have been completed before. And the beauty of this translation memory is that it allows for this process to be incremental. The more content we pass through the whole translation management system, the database will retrieve the translations that have happened before for some of those words or some of those sentences, and actually insert it into the translation process, so that it's faster and faster and cheaper each time we push more and more through. So the English authors can check this translation memory and get a sense for what kind of English has already been passed or has already been submitted before, so they can have more consistent English content. Because if they make if they write English documents in the same way as before, the whole process is cheaper and faster. And they also can connect into a terminology database. Now, this terminology database is very important because many companies like mine have very specific ways of describing their products and services. Not just the names of the products, but also how it's used, the capitalization, who owns those acronyms or industry-specific terms. And we've actually translated several thousand of our products and company-specific terms into all of the languages that we support, so that this terminology database actually improves and makes the overall consistency and quality of the translations better, but also helps the English authors as well. And finally, the systems can plug in, the translation management system can plug into other tools and other systems as well, because it's very common that the English authors will upload their content to a content management system, or CMS. And once the content is there, and this could be a web content management system, there's a possibility to actually activate and directly pass files to the TMS. There doesn't have to be this manual upload process. And the other thing that is great is that we get, with the translation management system, real-time pricing. We know exactly how much stuff is going to cost because we have all of the vendor prices loaded into the translation management system. So we know every time we start a translation job how much it's going to cost at the end. And then finally, this system can also be integrated in with delivery systems or delivery platforms like websites, where we can actually shoot out the translated content to a web server or to our staging server so that we know and we can automate the process of handing that off. Again, so that there isn't a manual kind of upload and download process. So that concludes the kind of overview of a translation management system. Thank you.